not being easily able to do the same thing twice, I take a different approach in the matter of introducing Steve Eccles, because his microphone fell off when we were in full tilt and we were recording this piece, and we stopped to refit his microphone.
And you could just hear my heart beating, couldn't you?
Boom, boom, boom. A very, very healthy man. And I have a healthy heart. Well, there's some fellow in a chemist shop came around and plugged us into machines.
Yes.
And I was at 72, 71 at the time, broadly reckoned to be in the state of a young fellow. I was so proud of that.
That's good.
I really,
that's good.
You see, I've never smoked in my life.
No,
Modern
me
drinker.
neither.
No,
Me-
smoking is hideous.
It is.
Would you kiss a woman who smoked?
No.
You'd need to hose her out first of all, wouldn't you?
You would indeed.
Because
you would.
we used to have euthymal toothpaste, which would have been very good for smokers inside mouths. Which, but I mean,
I think you could still get that. To
you
be
can.
honest.
Yeah. There used to be Gibbs, which you got in a little like a shoe box, a shoe tin of polish,
Really?
and you rubbed the brush on it like this, and you went like this here, and you go,
Really?
Yes. I remember things that you don't remember.
Back in the Boer War, was it?
I did not come across the Boer War. I was not that far back now, I tell you. You are?
Steve Eccles from
Where?
Eccles Physiotherapy
Where?
on the old Warren Point
Where?
Road. Near.
The old Warren Point Road in Newry, just
Newry.
down beyond Keogh's garage, John Keogh and Company.
Yes,
It's an iconic Newry firm, you know.
it is,
Keogh's.
yes.
They've been here since Adam was a boy. Bottom of Kiln Street over there. Noel, one of the sons, he's a priest in Cork. I went down and made a nationwide programme with them.
Did you?
A couple of years back.
Yes.
And it's
yeah.
a lovely programme, Steve. You would love it. He encourages and sets up a situation where young people mentor each other. You know, youngsters coming into second level education.
Yeah.
And maybe the youngsters coming in are nervous, they're being bullied or whatever else.
Yeah.
Well, the fellas and girls who are in it 2 or 3 years, 2 years anyway, they're there to help them and advise them and to look after them. And that's blossoming down there in Cork.
It's lovely.
Run by a
It's
Newry
lovely.
man. Keogh's
Fantastic.
garage.
Well, good
Yeah.
for him. Good for
And
him.
once he finishes hearing confessions and blessing the congregation, he'll sell you a car or two, so he would. It's in him. It's in him. It's in him to sell the cars. So, listen to me. It's good to see you here, and welcome. And
Thank you.
I just want you to know that it's a sunny morning, and
It is.
we're
It's
blessed
beautiful.
with the. You see, a morning like that should encourage us not to tighten the muscles of the head, because it's the tightening of the muscles of the head that brings about headaches. It comes from the muscles. And if you keep a calm countenance about you,
Yes,
an
yes.
easement of deportment, you
Yes.
won't get headaches. Broadly speaking,
I think there's a number of causes of headaches, and
I know right well.
but-
I met some of them in my day.
Yes,
I tell
I'm sure you.
God
I'm sure you
knows.
have.
Goodness
I'm sure you
gracious
have.
me.
But good,
Yeah, what
good
the-
posture.
yeah,
good posture
posture.
is one way to prevent certain types of headache.
Yes.
Because if you irritate the joints at the top end of your
Tell me, yes.
the top end of your neck, it can refer pain into your head.
I'm going to tell you a very brief story now.
Do tell
which
me it.
gives evidence to this this assertion you have just made, and it's not an assertion; it's a fact. When I was a sailor, there was a steel boat in Warren Point that had an enormous mast on it.
Right.
And the mast had little holes in it, not steps, but little holes up the mast. Toe holes really, and finger holes.
Yes.
And they'd jammed a halyard away at the top, a rope away at the top of the mast. So,
They looked
Superman.
around for an idiot to climb
Superman
up there.
was
Did
there,
they?
and I had no safety harness, which was daft. But I was very good around boats in my day,
Right,
very
right.
confident, and I climbed that mast, toe to fingertip, fingertip to toe, went the whole
Yes.
way up and got to the top, and at the top there was an enormous strain across here as I was holding on and going like this to feed the halyard back down into the pulley and down the mast again.
Yes.
Did this, and there I was, and suddenly this pain here, because I'd tightened the muscles across the back.
Yeah.
Wow! By the time I got down, I had to lie upon the ground and look up at the blue sky for all of an hour before I could actually get any relief
Yes.
whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
the body
Yeah.
is an extraordinarily complex mechanism.
It is.
But I'm very
it is.
grateful for it.
Yes.
You know, it's not bad as a body.
No, no,
grows.
it's
Like you've seen
it's
it,
done.
the intimate skeleton of my being, and you weren't unimpressed, Steve.
No.
You know, you've seen better.
Yes.
But you've seen
No,
worse.
no, you're in good shape. You're in good shape.
Thank you. That's what I was.
There you
That's
go.
what I was
He
fishing
is,
for
he is.
all the way, all the way. Now, who will not be in good shape are these fellows who are playing rugby, answering Ireland's call.
Right.
At what cost? Because these are like bullocks crashing and colliding on the field of play,
Yes.
and people are going down with
Yeah.
what's that thing called?
Concussion.
I knew it. That's the only problem I have. I can't remember a thing, John. It's terrible. it's really, really problematic for me. But concussion, I just don't know. Why are people so careless in these things? And there's huge tackling forces
Yeah.
involved. You
Well,
know.
you know, one of the interesting things is no matter how you build up your body, your brain is still a delicate instrument in
Yes.
the bone box.
Yes.
And it's particularly vulnerable to side impacts.
Yes.
So if you get a concussion, you get a temporary reduction of the efficiency of your brain activity.
Are we
So-
looking at a kind of jelly
Yes,
inside the case?
we are. We are
and the jelly
looking-
wobbles.
And yes, and it's not just so if you get hit on the side of the head, it's not just that area, but the whole of the way through.
It all moves.
Yes, and particularly dangerous is the second impact syndrome, where somebody's had a recent concussion,
Yes.
and then they're hit again.
Yes.
And it's far easier to become concussed after that. And this second impact syndrome can lead to long-term permanent brain damage and even death. And that has happened recently. So I think and a lot of sporting bodies now have different protocols, different guidelines for what happens. And it should all be one. And that is to know that if you get hit in the head and you have any symptoms from it, including dizziness, nausea, vomiting, balance problems, sleep disturbance, sensitivity to light and noise, mood changes, memory problems, if you have any of those, that is evidence of concussion. There's no brain scan that can effectively be done to say yes, you've got concussion or not. It's just a clinical diagnosis, and if on the field they show any of those symptoms, or there's doubt, they immediately sent off, and then not allowed to play again until they are symptom free, and have been cleared by a specialist in head injury.
I saw recently where a fellow took a hit. I think it may have been one of the Six Nation games, an Irish fellow, and it was really savage hit.
Yes.
And he got up again, and the legs went from under him. Bing, he was gone. He was like a new birthed calf.
Right.
And they're like, everywhere, just
Yes.
he was taken off.
No, and that's good. And rugby, I think, is one of the better sports.
They've caught on. They're insisting. Not only is
Yes.
it blood injuries, it's that kind of thing, you
Yeah.
know. Sports injury, you would deal with a lot of folk who get the thump. The bones are crunchy.
Yes, mostly. I mean, I think the concussions don't come to physios, generally speaking. They would go.
They sort of go meow, meow, meow,
you need
way
a
off
neurologist.
to another place.
The problem is with them. If you've had one concussion, you're more likely to have more, and especially within the next 10 days.
Yes.
So you're not as coordinated, much more higher likelihood to fall and get hit, but also that you're much more sensitive. Your brain's more sensitive, and if in the long term we see, for example, boxers have a stunning rate of Parkinsonism.
Yes.
And American footballers have been shown to have, I think it's 13 times the risk for early onset Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
retired old professional footballers.
Yeah.
So it's a real danger, and people don't want to. People shouldn't be, risking those things. I think one of the Ireland players had a concussion recently, and then there was maybe a French player. You saw him hitting him, in the side of the head.
Yeah, I saw that.
That guy, the Frenchman should be banned.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's risking that second impact syndrome on the Irish player, and that could kill him.
I come back to a point of view that says the governing body of the sport should introduce a maximum level of tackle violence. If you regard that as violence, that thump, there should be a maximum level at which the tackle may be carried out. That's going to stop the problem.
Yes, I'm not sure how you'd.
I'm not sure how you do it either.
For that,
One of the things I got to thinking about, if you issued each team, you say that French and the Irish, if you issued, and maybe this sounds awfully crazy, but I'm sure it is crazy, but let's go for it anyway. If we issued the Irish team with little green handbags, and the French team with little blue handbags. And as they raced back and forth, you could hit one like that with a handbag. It could be filled with polystyrene foam. And you hit him like that. And for every time you hit him like that, there would be a judging panel that would say, that was a jolly good hit. We'll give you a penalty for that. We'll give you a free for that. We'll give you a free kick. I saw once. Do you ever get in Private Eye the Cloggies? You remember the Cloggies in Private Eye?
I'm sorry.
Very, very funny. Yeah. Cartoon men in the Cloggies.
Yes.
And one of the things, they played football. The two teams were out. And one of the things you got as a Cloggy football person, you had a penalty knee awarded against you. If you had misbehaved, you got the penalty knee. And you had to stand there with your legs apart, and the fellow who had been offended has the run at you from 10 yards, and he comes running, bang! And he knees him in a very sensitive part of the male anatomy. And at this point, your man is being carried off, roaring and shouting and holding his parts, like this here. And his mate says, "Good man, Joe, you broke his friggin' kneecap." That's the penalty knee. We'll not be introducing that.
Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
An interesting thing happened to me over the last little while. People said to me for my bones, I should be taking glucosamine.
Yes.
And I thought, no, that's nonsense. I should have been taking glucosamine 50 years ago, and it would build into the system.
Yes.
I'm only taking it a week,
and
you tell me if this is if this is an imaginary thing. But I'm moving around a lot more easily. Is that silly? Yes.
No, it's not. I think, generally speaking, it's thought. Some surveys, some studies suggest that it's neither here nor there. It's not harmful.
Yeah.
Others suggest that in the long term it is beneficial. But I think that if it's not harmful and you're feeling a benefit from it, then and it's not that expensive.
No, it could be a placebo, of course.
Fire away. No, but I'm not trying to break the placebo or anything. But if it's helping you, take it.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah. I do note, and this seems wise, and you all listen out there because you're getting on, some of you, and you're getting heavy, and the problem really is the hole between the tip of your nose and the tip of your chin. If you'd stop feeding the rubbish into you, then you'd be much better off. But I find if I keep the weight down, my bones aren't carrying around as much of it.
Yes,
and at 10.5 stone, constantly my best fighting weight. And am I telling lies? Stuff in my throat. No, 12 stone constantly.
12 stone.
12 stone constantly. It doesn't. I find it easier to move around.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. Yeah. Being careful. The time of year that's in it is good as well, Steve, because how can you feel sore in yourself when you look and see a blue sky like today?
Yeah.
It's good weather.
Yes.
Good mental disposition adds to good skeletal health. And
I think we're out of the winter now, hopefully.
Yes.
But those short days and lack of sunlight certainly do seem to have an effect on people's moods, don't they? The SAD thing,
yeah.
seasonal affective disorder.
Yeah. I was impressed reasonably well, but massively yesterday with the health service here.
Good.
I now, because of my prostate cancer diagnosed 4 or 5 years ago, we just monitor it, keep an eye on it, so that we know every year, and it's all level and everything's fine. We have a number of tools of monitoring. One, of course, is the blood levels.
Yes.
Very important to get your blood levels checked for prostate. The other is the annual biopsy you might like to have, and that tells you what's going on. The other is an MRI scan, and that actually tells you the size and the dimension of the prostate.
Yes.
Well, I was due my second MRI scan before in the next month. Yes. And I worried I'm going away for a little while, and I thought maybe it would come when I was away, and let them know this. So I got a phone call out of the blue yesterday, and the phone call said, "Mr. Hand, we have a cancellation today. Could you come down?"
Very nice.
And I said, "Well, look, I can't come down today." "Oh, well, don't worry, because you're listed for the 17th. So I will be able to make my," and I'm choosing my words very carefully here, "to make my assessment of my health before going away. I'll have a comparison tool."
Good.
And that's what we need to do.
Yes.
And in doing that, you know where you are, because don't assume, never ever assume that the people in the health service are doing it for you. And let me tell you why. The woman said, "We sent you out a letter, did you get it?" And I said, "No." I said, "Where did you send it?" "They sent it to my old address," although I had changed the address in the hospital the last time I was there. So do not assume that there's a guardian health angel there looking after your interest. There's only one person to look after your interest, and that's you.
Yes, you need to be...
That's moderately correct,
You need to fight your corner.
Fight your corner.
Always,
all the way.
You know, your job isn't to be loved by them, but to get the best out of them. And they should be, they should be there for you.
Absolutely. There's a good example of that, and I share it with you, and I share it with the people to make our point.
Yes.
I had been expected to have an appointment last June.
Yes.
And I phoned and, "Oh, Mr. Hand, there is a large queue, big backlog. It will be next January or something like that."
Yes.
January came and January went, and there was no word of anything.
Yeah.
So I phoned, "What's going on?" "Oh, Mr. Hand, there's no appointment for you." I said, No, 3 months ago, there was a backlog and I was down the queue. "Oh, no, you're not, no. So I immediately, I said, "Thank you very much indeed." I wrote a letter. Oh no, the lady told me, she said, "Get your receptionist at the doctor's to contact." Well, I'm not going to have a receptionist at the doctor act as my health ambassador. Why would I?
Why would
They're very
you?
good at being receptionists, but they're not good in being advocates for me.
Yes,
Of course they're not, or anybody else.
Yeah.
So send your own letter. And I did. I said, "Look," and I sent it to the specialist. I said, "Look, here's the story. I am not on the waiting list. I was told I am on the waiting list. We are in a process of intelligent monitoring. There is no monitoring if we are not talking.
Yes.
Please, would you revisit the waiting list and let me know?"
Yeah.
Within 3 days, I had an appointment. Again, it's looking after your own interests. There's no two ways about it.
And in the great majority, it's just simple errors.
Oh, yeah.
And so the way you did it, you didn't get angry.
God, no.
Do you know what I mean?
Anger is no place in it.
No.
No.
So
anger.
it all gets there in the end if you keep pushing gently.
Absolutely. Is there any question in the whole wide universe you'd like to ask me as we draw to a close? The last 5 minutes of the interview are yours, Steve. You can challenge me on anything. I'll tell you about the flowers that grow in the spring, la la, fa la 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 la. I'll tell you about Spain and Nerja and Andalusia.
Yes.
And all
Let's hear a little bit about your sojourn.
I saw, when I was last there, there's a lovely little restaurant down close. There's a whole string of them. But I had this penchant for murdering, for driving octopus to extinction. Because I loved baby octopus, fried, done deep fried with a couple of lemons squeezed over it.
Do you mean calamari?
No, I don't mean calamari. I mean baby octopus. The little octopus. They're no size. So I'm wiping out the next generation. It's awful.
It's very awful.
But I must not do that. But in any event, this lovely little, and I'm sitting there and taking in the vista, and there's a little boy and his mummy and his daddy coming walking along, and there's a man playing separately, playing jazz, and he's playing slow jazz and classical. And suddenly I'm observing, and I wrote about it at the time in the Newry Democrat in my Rowan's Rambles. But can I find it? And I want to find it.
Yeah.
Because the wee boy had a condition known as Down syndrome.
Yes.
And he's walking up, minding his own, and suddenly, bing! And he's there, immediately. And no one could stop him.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing. And as the man slowed down, the wee boy was slowing down. And as if there he was going again. And I remember thinking, my God, what happy, happy, happy person this is.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a lovely thing to be seeing and to be present at.
Yeah, yeah.
And I often think of that boy, and I often think of his joy of living and the fun he was getting out of life.
Yes,
and no
yes.
complications or anything else.
Yes,
So that was my experience down at the restaurant there. They have a place there called the Balcon de Europa, which is a huge balcony out into the ocean, and you look over and you see it's all going. And then on the 16th of July, which I hope to participate in this year, they have the Festival of the Virgin of the Oceans.
Okay.
When the statue of the we're on a different time. I'm talking heavenly virgins here, you silly boy. what am I to say? Our Blessed Lady of the Ocean. Is that a better way of putting it?
I apologize.
No apology necessary, I tell you. But there they are. They have this huge statue of the religious virgin, and she's carried out into the water, and they're walking with her and all the rest of it. And they're coming their thousands to see this.
Brilliant.
And everyone drinks sangria and eats tapas. Everyone is happy.
Very nice.
And then in the morning time, I shall be sitting in my villa with the sun rising across my left shoulder, up over the eastern rim, past North Africa, across the Mediterranean and into my study. And as I'm doing that, overlooking the ocean, I shall be writing the Destination Newry news bulletin of the morning.
Wow.
And then once I have that done, hour and a half, 2 hours down the road, hit the button and it flies.
Yes.
And it comes on in our website here, and it comes on our Facebook.
Wow.
So that's me. That's what I'm going to do.
That's lovely. That's lovely.
I think it's just charming.
It reminded me. You reminded me slightly of Frank Muir. Do you remember Frank Muir?
I do.
That lovely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he once said that he was taking a villa in Corfu for the summer to finish his novel. He said, "Yes, I'm a very slow reader."
What was the one we talked? What was the joke? We'll finish with the joke we had at the beginning before we came on air. What was that one? Can you remember? What was it?
I can't remember.
No, you can't.
I can't. No, I swear I can't.
I can't. You can't. What was it at all? It was very funny. I laughed, I tell you. It was something, do you know the way it just drifts in and drifts out again? It was almost there. Yeah. Anyway, we're not going to succeed.
We're not.
No.
I'm sorry.
So finally, a health warning for the day from our resident physiotherapist, Steve Eccles, of Eccles Physiotherapy on the Wallen Point Road in Newry. A little advice for today for people and their bones. Boil them well. If you're going to make soup.
I was going to be sensible and recap.
Right. All right, we're going sensible. 3, 2, 1.
So for the concussions, you don't need loss of consciousness. That only happens in 10%. And if there are any abnormal symptoms, it's to be full rest, no sport at all, and in fact probably not even going to work. Just resting until those symptoms abate, and only then could you return to sport after being cleared. The other thing is, immediately after a head injury, in which any of these symptoms occur, you need to be checked every 15 to 30 minutes to make sure things aren't getting worse, because worse than a concussion is a bleed in the brain, which can be catastrophic. So keeping a safe eye on these. This isn't just a bit of a knock and let him run on, let him play on. It's a serious thing. So I would like, if anyone's listening and they're in that position, to make that call, take the kid off or the player off, and let them recover and let them have a healthy life.
That's a big mission. That's a big message for us today.
So-
and we thank you for
So
it.
my pleasure, my pleasure.
You're a very good man, isn't he? He
If-
knows about
If
things.
Scatterbrain can't remember that joke still,
It's there.
we'll work on
It's
it. And
teetering.
the
It's teetering.
the next time.
Are you ready for the handshake?
Yes,
now,
I
it
am indeed.
doesn't come. Now,
Yeah.
you need to watch the thumb.
Yes, yeah.
We can break the thumb. Now, be careful. No, you don't come down. You come that way, and then we don't break. One. No,
All
no,
right.
wait.
All right.
Now, just hold on now. Right.
Right.
No, that wasn't
I
a good
missed-
one. No,
yeah,
let's
yeah.
go. Let's go. No, we're still
No.
trying. No, we're almost
that
there.
was a good one.
We're
That
getting
was-
there.
yeah,
Hold
that
on.
was
Are you
good.
ready? Now. That's all right. We did it. All right. Steve Eccles, go well.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Rowan. Cheers.